Hello, a very good day to you and thanks for joining us. And this is the diplomatic segment of Inside Business Africa. We call it The Diplomat. And today we are very delighted to have with us another important diplomat. Indeed, His Excellency Shameen Ahsan, who is the High Commissioner of Bangladesh to Nigeria. And he will be talking to us most precisely about the relationship between Nigeria and Bangladesh, and also from the point of view of business, trade, and investment. Mr. Ahsan, thank you again for joining us on this program.
Thank you for inviting me.
Now, I think I would like to take it very, can you take us through the journey of the relationship between Nigeria and Bangladesh, and how it all started and where it is now?
Well, thank you very much. Bangladesh and Nigeria enjoy cordial bilateral relations, and both countries have similarities and commonalities in many respects. Both countries are members of United Nations, Commonwealth, OIC, NAM, G8, and in the international fora, both countries share almost similar views that brings us also closer. Having said this, I want to add here that Bangladesh opened this diplomatic mission in this beautiful country in November 2016. So we have a new journey so far. Establishment of embassy is concerned, but I think there are huge potentials of expanding and strengthening of bilateral relations between the two friendly countries. And out of my experience within little more than 1 year, as I joined in June 2018, I am pretty confident that there are huge potentials, and unfortunately the potentials largely remain untapped or unutilized. And as High Commissioner of Bangladesh, I'm the second High Commissioner of Bangladesh in Nigeria. My focus is to strengthen bilateral relations, and I have identified some areas which are my priorities. And I think trade and commerce would be the most important area where both countries can mutually, they can forge strong, mutually beneficial bilateral relations. I'm working on it, and just to update you that today I met for the second time. I met the president of Lagos Chamber of Commerce today, this morning, before I came here. The primary purpose of my meeting to him and his team was Bangladesh's participation in the forthcoming Lagos International Trade Fair, which is one of the largest, I guess, the trade fair in West Africa. So I'm working in this regard so that Bangladesh participates in a big way. And Bangladesh and Nigeria can benefit mutually. Talking about Bangladesh, it is the second largest producer of garments in the world after China, and Bangladesh is our pharmaceutical industry is booming. It's one of we have already been exporting our products in North America and European Union. Our jute and jute products, jute fiber is environment friendly, biodegradable, and it is very suitable, very appropriate for the Nigerian cocoa beans and cashew nuts, because it not only helps protect the color but also ensures the longevity of the product. So we can cooperate in Bangladesh is a model country in the sense that despite the fact that ours is a very small country, 56,000 plus square miles, but you will be very surprised to learn that despite the fact we have 160 million people, but we are self-sufficient in food production with a small land and with a population which is close to Nigeria, I would say. Because of the prudent and pragmatic policies being implemented by the Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, And so we are self-sufficient in food production. We are the second largest producer of garments. We are the largest producer of jute and jute bags in the world. We are in the international front, just if you allow me to go. Bangladesh remains the largest contributor of peacekeepers under UN peacekeeping missions. Sometimes it is the second largest, but mostly it is at the front. And Bangladesh is a role model in women empowerment. Bangladesh is a role model in economic development. And former UN Secretary General Mr. Ban Ki-moon would very often term Bangladesh as a quote-unquote as a role model in the world. So going back to bilateral relations, I think there are huge potentials. We are working on it, and I hope the current trade volume is insignificant. I think two-way it is close to 15 million, which is nothing. But I think if we cooperate, and I'm also working actively to launch a Bangladesh-Nigeria Chamber of Commerce or sort of business council, which can link both business communities between the two countries. And I'm very hopeful about a very meaningful relationship between the two friendly countries.
Well, now, you said the trade is about 15 million today, which means within the last 1 year or 2 years, you opened the bilateral relation 2016, and that's a good thing, I mean,
not bad.
Specifically, in what areas would we want to say this 15 million is coming in? I know Nigeria is taking a lot, but,
Yeah, I think from Bangladesh side it is mainly garments and related knitwear, and these are the products. But as I told you that apart from garments, pharmaceutical could be one of the important products from our side, which is not only of international standard, but of price is very competitive.
Okay.
And from Nigerian side, the products are not many, but very few, I think, in a limited volume. So, but we need to concentrate on expanding trade relations, and there are huge potentials.
Yeah, but you did mention, Your Excellency, that you will be taking part, you'll be having a possibly bilateral in a Bangladesh pavilion, so to speak, in the Lagos.
I'm working hard. I'm working on it.
But you've actually had participated in some trade fairs in the past.
Sure.
What has been in Nigeria? What has it been?
Thank you. Very relevant question. We participated in 40th Kaduna International Trade Fair for the first time on our part, and I'm very delighted to share with you that Bangladesh High Commission was awarded as the quote-unquote best foreign participant award. That is something very encouraging. We recently attended the Kaduna Trade Fair, and we are also looking for attending Kanu Trade Fair sometime in November, and we'll be also attending in the Abuja Trade Fair. I guess it will be held sometime in September, apart from the mega event, which is scheduled to take place in Lagos every November. That is the very big show. So we take a special interest about trade and commercial issues. As I mentioned, that this is the most potential areas I can see which can contribute in strengthening bilateral relations between the two countries. Apart from the trade aspect, there is another important event which is not primarily trade. It is on handicrafts. But it has a commercial aspect. We attended the 11th INEC International Expo on handicrafts in November, I guess, last year, and we had a very big stall, one of the largest stalls we had, and we put up various handicrafts, and there was a good response. And our cultural team from Bangladesh, we had a 9-member cultural delegation. And they performed and showcased cultural beauty. And that is important because Unfortunately or incidentally, Bangladesh does not figure prominently in this part of the world. We are in South Asia, and Nigeria is in West Africa. But that is not a big issue in the world of digitalization or social media. We can connect each other within seconds using the technology and the tools. The point I'm trying to make is that once it is very important. Which is a part of public diplomacy. Sensitizing people about the country, familiarizing each other's country, and doing some activities which help create better understanding between the two countries. And at the same time, it helps dispel misperception. So we call it public diplomacy. So I'm also, I have taken it as a priority area, public diplomacy, so that both peoples of the both countries know each other, and showcasing Bangladesh can involve activities like cultural performance, because as I did mention that both are located at different areas, so we need to know each other, and culture could be one of the tools to connect each other, which is always linked to any kind of promotion, either commercial or trade or investment. So it is an important element.
From a war-torn, ravaged nation on the brink to launching its own satellite in under 50 years, Bangladesh is the story of a nation that has pulled itself up from the ground to shoot for the very stars. The fire sparked by the vision of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, the father of the nation, united a country of a diverse people and creed in 1971 and continues to shine the path towards the country's future. Today, under the visionary leadership of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, Bangladesh has adopted a long-term plan to transform the country into a knowledge-based middle-income economy by 2021. It also aspires to become a developed country by 2041, modeled after Bangabandhu's dream of a Sonar Bangla or Golden Bengal. Bangladesh has worked towards development from within, achieving, often ahead of time, all the Millennium Development Goals. Drawing inspiration from its success, the country is currently implementing the Sustainable Development Goals. 50% fewer people in Bangladesh live under the poverty line today than they did even 16 years ago. In the last 40 years, Bangladesh dramatically increased its food grain production, becoming the 4th largest producer of rice in the world and the 5th largest producer of fish. 2016 marks the 2nd consecutive year that the World Economic Forum ranked Bangladesh first in gender equality amongst South Asian nations. The same year, adult literacy in the country rose to a 12-year high, while net enrollment at primary schools jumped to over 98%. Life expectancy in Bangladesh is currently at 71.5 years, while infant and maternal mortality have both been significantly reduced. Since 2009, 14,000 community clinics have brought healthcare access door to door. Bangladesh has fulfilled all 3 criteria for graduation from LDC status this year and currently meets World Bank classification for middle income status. On the diplomatic front, it follows a policy of friendship to all and malice towards none. For 3 decades running, Bangladesh has been one of the biggest contributors to UN peacekeeping missions across the globe. From an agrarian economy in the 1970s, the Bangladeshi economy today is led by an export-oriented industrialization. The country is now the 2nd largest exporter of ready-made garments in the world. Keep up with the pace of the country's development, Bangladesh has embarked on constructing a number of mega infrastructural projects. Bangladesh's largest bridge, The Podda Bridge is being built entirely with the country's own resources. It is projected to transform the lives of 30 million Bangladeshis through increased trade and connectivity. Bangladesh's first nuclear power plant in Rupur is set to power 2.4 million homes by 2024. Since 2003, more than 4 million solar home systems have been installed nationwide. Bangladesh has the highest number of these solar home systems in the world. Since 2009, power generation has increased almost 4 times from under 5,000 megawatt to currently over 16,000 megawatt. The country's first deep-sea port, set to open in Paira by 2030, is poised to considerably boost trade volume. Simultaneously, the Dhaka Metro Rail will ease congestion and pollution in the capital, carrying 60,000 passengers per hour. And with over 5,000 grassroots-level union digital centers delivering 6 million e-services a month, public services have been brought to every doorstep in rural Bangladesh. To boost foreign and local investments in the ICT industry, the country is also setting up 12 high-tech IT parks in 12 separate districts, aiming to raise ICT export to $5 billion by 2021 and create 10 million jobs. Additionally, more than 100 special economic zones by 2030 seek to create a further 10 million jobs and churn out products and services worth $40 billion. In 2016, Bangladesh was the second fastest growing major economy in the world. It was the 6th year that GDP growth was greater than 6%, and the momentum continued with 7.28% growth in 2017. Bangladesh has been named one of the next 11 countries having a high potential to become among the world's largest economies in the 21st century, a land of fertile soil and fertile possibilities. Bangladesh has leaped beyond what was once thought to be its potential. A country that is younger than 50 is about to enter the space age with the launch of its very first satellite, the Bangabandhu 1 satellite. Bangladesh's incredible growth and development is increasingly being acknowledged and lauded around the world, garnering praise from world leaders in many different forums.
আসুন দল মত নির্বিশেষে সকলে ঐক্যবদ্ধভাবে আগামী প্রজন্মের জন্য একটি উন্নত সুখী সমৃদ্ধ বাংলাদেশ গড়ে তুলি। বাংলাদেশ এগিয়ে যাচ্ছে, এগিয়ে যাবে। আগামী প্রজন্ম পাবে সমৃদ্ধশালী বাংলাদেশ।
Despite all that has been achieved, Bangladesh is not resting. Under the leadership of Sheikh Hasina, Bangladesh has bold and ambitious plans to reach even greater heights. Guided by Bangabandhu's vision of a Sonar Bangla or Golden Bengal, the future is bright for this youthful and energetic nation reaching for the very stars.
Yes, they are intrinsically linked to diplomatic relationship. Now, you did mention that in Bangladesh there is food sufficiency.
Yeah.
All right, that's agriculture. With relatively little land, you're able to manage 160 million people. All right, what can we gain from what you were able to do?
Thank you. Because of the pragmatic policies being pursued by the Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, who happens to be the daughter of the father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, and who led the country, who dreamt of a country or land which will be a Golden Bengal, Sonar Bangla in my language. So she has been consistently working in that direction. And Bangladesh was going a little back to the history, because that inspires us to be a self-respecting, self-reliant country. Bangladesh attained its independence, and final victory came on 16 December after 9 months old bloody war of liberation.
What year was it?
And it was from Pakistan, we fought against Pakistan, our people fought, and it did not come overnight, neither it came without cost. We had to we lost, or 3 million people were martyred, and more than 200,000 women, females were violated. So apart from the massive destructions, so we had to make lots of sacrifices, but Bangladesh is progressing, and I will be happy to learn that Bangladesh is one of the fastest growing economies in the world. Just to share with you that in the last fiscal year, our economic growth was astounding, stunning, by any count, very impressive in international standard. Our economy grew by 7.86% last year. I think this year it would be more. So that is something very impressive. And talking up 7.86%, and our export growth is quite impressive. Our foreign exchange is up. Our inflation is it's minimum. And there is another signature issue we take pride in, and because of the Honorable Prime Minister's pragmatic policies, that is women empowerment. Bangladesh is a role model in women empowerment. And not only that, our Prime Minister is an elected female Prime Minister. He has been elected for the fourth term in last December. This is not only indicator. If you go to the ground level, if you go to the substance, we have attained gender parity at the elementary level and also in the high school level. And government is offering so many incentives that parents feel putting their kids, especially the females, to school, with the result that it has a positive impact in the social sector. Child mortality rate and the death from birth-related complications is coming down. And in the social sector, we are one of the most successful countries in meeting MDGs, Millennium Development Goals, and Bangladesh is in the right track in attaining SDGs. And Bangladesh's performance as I told you, in the international arena, we used to be one of the leaders in the world in troops in contributing troops or peacekeepers under UN peacekeeping missions. Of course, I appreciate the visible role of Nigeria in peacekeeping. Nigeria is well respected for its very laudable global role in peacekeeping. And so it is there. And our achievements have prompted many persons, achievements both at home and at the international arena, have prompted some analysts and commentators that our contribution to international peace and security especially is disproportionate to our size. Ours is a small country, 56,000 square miles plus. So that is something there. And I would like to add one thing that is quite pertinent. You must be aware about the very big challenge we are facing due to the influx of more than 1.1 million Rohingya refugees from Myanmar, our neighboring country, because of the persecution and the genocidal activities which is taking place there. And with the aim of, it's something like ethnic cleansing, and it's a textbook of genocide and ethnic cleansing identified by UN itself. So Bangladesh being respectful to international law and rules and norms, and being a follower of the principle of the father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, who is the father of our Prime Minister. His motto was, quote unquote, so long foreign policy is concerned, friendship to all and malice towards none. And that prompts Bangladesh to pursue peaceful means in foreign policy objectives. But because of the magnanimity shown by the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, hosting, ours is a small country, small land, 160 million people. We are hosting, sheltered 1.1 million people. And that has multiple impacts on the local employment, law and order, environment. Millions of trees are being cut with the result that is causing lots of problems and immediate and long-term impacts. But so because of the generosity, not only that our Prime Minister received many international awards or recognitions at the event, several recognitions she received last year, but her role has been termed in this way. She has been identified as quote-unquote mother of humanity. That is something talks about the generosity of the people, and of course that is symbolized and epitomized by the Prime Minister's generosity. So despite the challenges, Bangladesh is doing very well.
Yeah. Now let's look at it from we're going to round up very soon, but I think we should look at it from the point of view of security. Nigeria is facing a lot of challenges, and you've said that Bangladesh is one of maybe the second largest contributor sometimes to international peacekeeping. What can you do for her?
Well, yes, you have rightly said Bangladesh. Both countries can work together, and no country is without challenges. And let me share with you how our government under the leadership of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina is handling the issue of handling the apparent challenges posed by issues like tourism, extremism, or whatever it is. These are very big challenges, and Bangladesh is located in South Asia, and without mentioning the name, you know that we are also vulnerable to extremist activities. But because of the zero tolerance policy of the Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, the extremist elements would not thrive, and because of her commitment and policies and programs on board, Bangladesh is internationally recognized as a voice of moderation. It is one of the leading voices in the OIC, and it's a Muslim majority country. In Bangladesh, you will hardly hear an incident that suicide attacks kill people or something like this. There are communal fights, something you will hardly hear because of the policy consistently maintained by Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. They're so peaceful. All communities celebrate each other's religions in a big way, and they participate each other. And the question how we have been successful in doing it, that is very important. Our Prime Minister has identified poverty as the most visible enemy. Poverty, addressing poverty. So our Bangladesh, under the leadership of the Prime Minister, has invested heavily in education, invested heavily in poverty alleviation. If you have job, if you are not hungry, then no one can misguide you, manipulate you. So poverty alleviation has been a major success, and women empowerment has been a major success story. And investing in education is very, 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 very important. And not only education, it is giving proper education, giving proper lessons about religion. Islam or any religion does not call for extremism or violence. All religions speak about peace and tranquility. So people should be taught with the proper speech of religion, and that is very important. So, and because of that, Bangladesh remains a glaring example of communal harmony, and it's a voice of moderation. And we are grateful for our friendly countries like Nigeria for their support and warmth, and especially I recognize the positive and constructive role Nigeria had in the UN General Assembly when there was a resolution on Myanmar, or Nigeria had a constructive role in terms of voting. So we appreciate Nigeria's support.
Now, finally, for the last one, can you say precisely in the last since 2016 that you've opened this bilateral relation, could you point out one investment, two investments, or individual investors that actually made this contribution?
Well, thank you. Let me put it in this way. Sometimes I joined 1 year before. Just to share one statistics. When I joined, I could see that we would issue around 30 visas every month. Now we issue around 250 visas in each month, and most of them are business visas. So I'm yet to identify whether there is any project or something, yet not. But if you take the figure itself, more than 250 visas we issue each month, that speaks about the growing interest of the Nigerian business community. And also there are few hundred Nigerian students studying in Bangladesh. We're planning to organize an education fair. So it's not business people. It is one most potential area. Our private universities, many offering good quality education, and many young Nigerians feel studying there. So we are working on in this field, in trade and commerce and other areas.
The importance of microfinance, I think it also came out from Bangladesh. The man that started microfinance by giving loans to women. Was it?
Okay, let me tell you, microcredit is a success story in Bangladesh, and it's not that NGOs. One of the secrets of our economic success, and in other words, one of the secrets of poverty alleviation, I will ascribe it to close cooperation and coordination between the government and the NGOs, and they supplement each other's effort. Of course, the government remains committed to alleviate poverty, keep them out of poverty, and Bangladesh is moving in that direction. So microcredit has been a tool to address poverty, especially at the rural level, and that has been a success story. So NGOs have been working, but the bigger part, which unfortunately or incidentally remains less publicized or less known to the rest of the world, is the government's role in promoting microcredit. Government is at the forefront. PK, SF, and other bodies are there, which are extending microcredit in a big way. And the point I'm trying to make is that both the government and the NGOs in general have been cooperating closely, and that contributed not only in poverty alleviation, in social sector, in health, population, and child mortality rate is one of the, I don't have the figures right here, but child mortality rate, reducing mortality during childbirth, access to sanitation, water. In the social sector, we are ahead of neighboring countries. So that has raised our profile in a big way. We are very successful in social sector, especially.
Well, thank you, Your Excellency, and it's been very exciting chatting with you on the role and the development that is currently taking place between Nigeria and Bangladesh, and also the business community that is also embracing Bangladesh's business model. And we're hoping that you'll be able to launch your business council at the Lagos International Trade Fair in November. That will bring in about more cooperation and more business people coming to know more about you. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you, sir, for inviting me.